Hello everyone, I hope that you're doing well. I have another little chatty video for you today. I actually recorded two videos, so I recorded one before this, and then I realized that I am not going to have enough time this week to edit it and put it up before Monday. So I thought that I would film another one that wouldn't take as long so then I can edit this one. And, look, I'm getting in over my head with explaining this, but basically, I'm going to look exactly the same in the video in 2 weeks from now because I've filmed them on the same day. I was going to change my jumper for this one, but yeah, I was too cozy and I didn't want to. So I'm just going to look exactly the same. So, anyway, I thought that I would sit down and have another chat with you today. I want to talk a little bit about imposter syndrome. I'm going to call it imposter syndrome, even though this isn't my exact definition of imposter syndrome. It is, I guess, a form of that. So if you wanted to join me, make sure you grab your cup of tea, your blanket if it's cozy where you are, and let's get into it. I currently have my gingerbread tea. It's ginger something tea from T2. Oh my gosh, it tastes like Christmas. I love it. I think I've spoken about it before, but it's one of my favorite black teas along with Earl Grey. But this one, it has that very sweet biscuity taste, and oh my gosh, it's like a hug in a cup. Let me know what kind of tea that you are drinking right now in the comment section below. I want to talk a little bit about imposter syndrome, or a form of imposter syndrome, as I said in my intro. So I think the definition of imposter syndrome for me is feeling like you have this success that you don't deserve, or that you're in a position of someone is praising you and you don't deserve it. And that to me is kind of the main descriptor of imposter syndrome. But recently, well, not recently, I've always felt this. I've always been like this. And I guess now I'm trying to put a name to it. It's more the feeling that I don't want to step on anyone's toes and I don't want to copy or feel like I'm copying anyone else. And that's something that I wanted to talk a little bit about today because it has been a topic that I have been thinking about a lot recently. And I feel like this is a good outlet to, just let it out to you guys. And maybe it resonates with someone and helps someone else through this. I will talk to you about my thought processes and how to overcome it, or how I personally try and overcome it. But yeah, so pretty much in my head, I'm afraid of copying someone unintentionally, or maybe even someone else's idea that I want to adapt into my own. I feel like I can't. I feel stuck. I feel like that's their idea and I'm not allowed to touch it, even though it's just a concept, it's just an idea. And that's pretty much how things are created in so many senses of that word. If you're an artist, if you're a performer, if you are even, like a singer, like music artists, they always take little bits and pieces and they sample music from older songs and make it into their own. But I just struggle so much with that. And I think online, even more so, you've got TikTok and you've got YouTube, and you've got someone starts a trend and then someone follows that trend and someone else follows that trend. But I always feel so weird doing that. And I don't know if someone else feels this way as well. Please let me know that I'm not alone in this. But I always feel so weird copying trends and doing trends because I feel like, well, this isn't genuinely my idea. I feel weird doing it. I feel like this is just piggybacking on someone else's idea. And it's such a toxic way of thinking, because how can you make anything? How can you do anything without having first an idea? Not everything in the world is going to be original. And in fact, it's almost impossible to do something completely original these days. So there is a line that we have to draw for ourselves between plagiarism and idea, or inspiration, I think would be the better word. So plagiarism and inspiration. So where is that line? Where does that line stop and start? And I think that is where a lot of artists get stuck, because they don't want to be seen as somebody that is copying one of their peers. I have so many art friends and they have such great ideas, But then I feel like even if I had thought of something similar before, that I then can't do that because that's someone else's idea now. That's their thing. I don't want to step on their toes. And then going out of my own road, I guess, my own lane, I feel weird doing that as well because I would love to try doing different things like crafts. Maybe I've spoken before about wanting to try four-edge painting, and I've spoken about, well, previously in my streams, I've tried learning crochet and I absolutely sucked at it, but I've always said that I wanted to learn it again. But I have so many friends that do these things, and I feel like I would be stepping out of my lane if I was then to start doing that and then making products of the things that I wanted to try and attempt to make products of, and then selling them in my shop if that's their thing. And I feel this. I feel this quite frequently lately because I feel like I'm expanding my friend group. I'm really trying to put myself in different communities and find different communities and be their friend and be there for them. But then they have these ideas and I'm like, oh, well, now I can't do that because that's theirs. And I know it's such a silly way of thinking, and this is just my brain being absolutely ridiculous, but I'm just expressing this to you because maybe your brain is doing the same thing. Maybe this is going to help you. But in the end, pretty much what we have to do is think about it if it were us. If one of my friends started doing something and it was an idea that I had, because I freely tell my ideas. I have a YouTube video from 2 weeks ago that I was telling you ideas on what to do for your Ko-fi or Patreon if you have memberships. And I would be thrilled if someone used those ideas and put them into their own work because that's their work. It's not my work. Whatever they make in that idea is going to be completely different to what I have made in that idea. It's not like they're taking my exact product and making the exact same product. I mean, even if they wanted to go and see what I do on my Ko-fi memberships or my Ko-fi shop or my commissions, and they have a very similar format, then it's still theirs. It was just an idea, and it was just this concept that I had in my head that I wanted to share with everyone. And for me as an artist, if someone used that idea, I'd be like, yeah, sure, absolutely, go for it. But my brain, it really struggles with that thought process, even to the point of I had a friend that I really liked his emotes over on Twitch, Simon Red, absolutely adorable artist. He is digital artist, but he used to have this squirrel and it had the wow face, or like kind of in awe face. And I loved it so much. And I asked him if I could use that design as my Galacticat emotes, which is, there's so many different emotes that are on Twitch that are like that. There's only so many expressions that you can use in a tiny little face, and there's so many that have that wow emote. But because he was such a close connection to me and we shared so much of the community, I feared that people would come at me and be like, oh, you stole Simon's idea. And I know that maybe it wasn't even Simon's. Maybe Simon got inspired by someone else, but I still had to make that extra step and ask him and say, is this okay? Whereas if it was me and someone saw my emote ideas and they wanted to use those, I would be like, yeah, sure. You don't even have to ask, because if you like the ideas, then use them. Chances are that I've found those ideas or those expressions from other inspirations anyway. So it gets so deep like that when my brain gets into this state of thinking, and it's really, really hard to pull out of that. And I don't quite know sometimes how to cope and how to get over that hurdle, because I do feel that in my past it has stopped me from doing certain things because I'm afraid of being too much like somebody else. It does have a less of an impact when it's not someone in my own circle. So these kind of chatty videos are videos that I've seen on YouTube and that I wanted to replicate. And even that in itself was a hurdle to get over, to be able to sit down, sit with my cup of tea, talk to my camera about this kind of stuff with you guys, because I was heavily inspired by other people, other YouTube channels that I watch. And I didn't want to seem like I was copying. I have realized recently that to be successful, I do have to use ideas that I see. But one thing that I try and I guess avoid is looking too far into that specific thing that I want to do. If I have an idea, or maybe I've seen a glimpse of an idea and I'm like, oh, I know what I can do for myself for this. Looking too far into something will also trigger that feeling in my head of, oh, well, someone else has already done this, so I don't want to do it. For example, right now I'm creating some emote packs that I will have up on Etsy and Ko-fi eventually. I just have some commissions to do first before I'm able to finish those. But they're little mushrooms, and there's probably a billion other little emotes that are mushrooms out there, but I have to not look at them. I have to not seek them out. I can't look at those reference photos and think, okay, I'm going to make something exactly like this, because that triggers it as well. I want them to be completely, even if someone else has done them, I want them to be completely mine. I don't want to be swayed by any kind of inspiration in that sense. I mean, the thing that I would do is I will look up regular emotes of maybe a little chibi person and think, okay, that's a cute expression. I can translate then into this emote that I'm making, and I'll do it that way rather than looking up the specific wording of what I'm doing, because then I'm going to find stuff that looks probably very similar to what I'm creating. But the thing is, and I speak about this a lot, that my art is my art. And it was something that I was hinting at before as well when I was talking about the Ko-fi ideas. But my art is my art. It's no one else's art. And the thing that is going to get people wanting that particular product is because it's my art. It doesn't matter if there's 100 others out there. People are going to seek that out because it is mine. So that's the thing to keep in mind if you are an artist and you are a creative, that your art is yours. And no matter what you make out of your art, whether it be some stickers, which I'm planning to do eventually as well, I would like to do sticker sheets. And then I watched Chloe Rose's video the other day and she was doing sticker sheets. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is exactly what I wanted to do. And I feel like I'm copying. I think the biggest thing of this that I have spoken about once before on my channel here on YouTube is my name. So I chose the name Galacticat and now it is Galacticat Studios. So that was a big change for me because I used to just have the number behind my name, because when I thought of the name Galacticat, I was in my bed, I was brainstorming ideas, I was mushing words together, and I had such a long list of different names that were possibilities of what I was going to call myself. And I came across Galacticat just sitting there in my bed. It wasn't inspired by anything. I'd never seen the name before. But then I did go online and it was a taken name in many places. So I originally called myself Galacticat Art, which I don't particularly enjoy the feel of in my mouth, which sounds really stupid, but I don't like the words Galacticat Art. So it was Galacticat 93 for a while and I was fine with that, but I had a whole, identity crisis and I really felt like I had to change from the 93 to something more professional, and that's how I came Galacticat Studios.
Hi, it's Editing Jacqueline, and I just wanted to add here that even adding studios to the end of my name triggered this kind of imposter syndrome in my brain too, because there are so many people that I follow that have studios at the end of their name, such as Catnip, and I felt so weird about changing it to that for a time because I interact with a whole bunch of people on Instagram that have studios at the end of their name, and I thought, oh my gosh, they're gonna notice and they're gonna think that I've copied them. And I don't know why that is such a big fear because it's absolutely ridiculous. They probably come across so many people every day with studios at the end of their name, but just because I was associated with them in some small way on Instagram, I had that fear.
After a long period of trying to figure out what I wanted to do, if I wanted to change it completely, but that's a different story altogether. So when I first started as Galacticat Art, I was doing Instagram was my first thing, and Facebook. I was doing most of my posts on there, and that was where my platform was. And then I started YouTube, and I did a fair amount of YouTube videos. I uploaded every single week. I was very heavily in Mariah Elizabeth's kind of realm of things because I was doing create this book videos. And then she had commented on one of my videos. Hi, Melon. She had even commented on one of my videos, which was absolutely insane. And I thought, holy cow, like this is amazing. She has noticed me. She likes my work. It was such a good feeling. But shortly after then, she then created a character called Galacticat. And I'm not gonna lie, I had a huge like identity crisis after that because my channel was getting some kind of visibility because of her and her like her viewers that would seek out create this book videos, and I was in her playlists, and that was how people were finding me. And I really felt that I did not want people to think that I was copying her because she's such a huge YouTuber and I'm just this baby YouTuber. And yeah, I went through a bit of a crisis during that time as well with my name. And then even more recently, Starfield has a little plushy character called Galacticat, which I thought was absolutely adorable. But it was one of those things that I felt like my name no longer represented me, and I had to work through that a lot because of all of these other things that people had used that name for whatever else. And there's nothing wrong with it. I guess I just had this, I don't know. In my head, I didn't know what to do. I just wanted to be me. I wanted to be known as me. I didn't want to be known as, oh, that's that character from Starfield, or oh, that's Mariah Elizabeth's little character that she created called Galacticat. And I wanted to change away from the name for a while. And I guess in that sense also plays into that imposter syndrome feeling where I just so desperately did not want to feel or be seen that I was copying somebody else. I wanted my things to be me. I wanted it to represent me and nothing else, no one else. So overcoming that was a really big hurdle. And I'm actually really proud of the fact that I stayed Galacticat after everything, even though there was so many other names that I was brainstorming across several months and saying, I'm going to change my name soon. I'm going to change my name soon. And then all I did was change the end of it to studios. But that's another thing. That's another side of that imposter syndrome that I really, really battled with. And I guess overcoming that is a really important step in my journey. And I hope that that kind of helps somebody else as well. If you are going through something really similar, whether it be I want to make this thing, but someone else has made it and I don't want to feel like I'm copying, or maybe it is about your name as well, or maybe it's about how your website is designed, maybe it's about how your YouTube videos are formatted, maybe it's about how your Twitch panels are organized or how your overlays look. And there's no harm in making something yours and realizing that hardly any idea is going to be original. Even if you are sitting in your bed thinking of names and mashing together words and coming up with Galactica and thinking you are the most original person in the world, it's not that original. It's not as original as you think it is, because the chances are someone else has already thought of those things and you just have to put your own flair on it. You have to put your mark on it. And that's what differentiates it between plagiarism and inspiration. So I do hope that this little chat, this kind of, I don't know if I want to call it a rant or if I just ramble. Let's call it a ramble. Just rambling on about things, about how I've been feeling lately. I hope that this has helped somebody deal with that and be able to process that as well. Oh, hello, Melon. Coming right at the end. Don't forget your tea, everyone. My tea always just kind of sits here with me and I don't drink it until the end. Hello. Thank you for joining us. Merlin would like to put in her 2 cents as well. She says that every black cat looks like me, but I'm the only me. Yeah. Well, I think that's me done for the day. Uh I don't even know what I said in this. Whenever I film these videos, I just ramble on and I don't know what I've said until I edit it. So by the time I've finished filming, I'm sitting here thinking, have I said enough? Have I said all the points that I wanted to say? And does it sound cohesive in any way, shape, or form? Is this going to help someone? And I overthink even this. I overthink everything, honestly. And that's the whole premise of imposter syndrome is overthinking, isn't it? You have all these thoughts and your brain is what is telling you is you can't do this or you can't do that because it's someone else's or because of this or because of that reason. So I hope that I have conveyed my point and what I wanted to initially talk about when I sat down with my tea and turned my camera on. So I do hope that this helps somebody. But that's me. I already said that. That's me done for today. I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your day and make sure that you look out for the next video. It is a little bit of a different format, but it is taking me a little bit longer to create because I am creating some artwork for this one and it's something I've wanted to do for quite some time. So if you want to see me design my original character, Moon Dimples, then make sure you do the like and subscribe and the bell and all that YouTube-y stuff. And I will see you in the next video. Fare thee well, everyone. Bye.